Let me ask you this. When's the last time you ran an experiment? Now, for a lot of you, the answer that comes into your head might be that you've either never ran an experiment at all, or at the very least it's back when you were in school, which could be 5, 10, 20 years ago. What if I told you that actually you were running experiments more often than not, and by being unaware of that fact, you're actually holding yourself back? Let's break it down though. What actually is an experiment? Well, so I actually went and I asked ChatGPT, and this is the definition that I got. An experiment is a systematic procedure carried out to test a hypothesis, investigate phenomena, or demonstrate a known fact. It involves carefully controlling variables and conditions to observe the effects or outcomes of specific actions or interventions. Or in simple terms, coming up with a goal and trying things out to see if they work. The reality is that if you're trying to change your life, you're stepping into the unknown. And that naturally comes with a certain level of experimentation just by the fact that it is unknown. But if you don't go into those situations knowing that fact and knowing that your next steps are only to experiment to see what works, oftentimes they can feel like failures if we fall short and don't get it right first time around. But if that was the case, if not getting something right the first time we tried did truly mean failure, then none of the advances that we've made in modern science would count or even probably be here because we would have given up already. Similarly enough, we wouldn't consider getting people into space a success and would still be left here scratching ourselves, walking around looking for nuts and berries. And today I'm going to share with you 5 reasons why you need to change how you think about experimentation. The first is to discover some strengths that you already have but you don't actually know about yet. We've all had that feeling when we start something new or we just end up becoming a dab hand at it. Maybe it was back when you were a kid learning to ride a bike, or maybe you're an artist who likes to draw and you just picked up a pen one day and you just were really good at it. Sure, over time you developed and honed your skills, but there was a natural ability there. There is nothing to say that you've actually already discovered all of those things that you're really good at. And so by going into things with an experimentation mindset, you're actually opening up the opportunities to develop more of those things that you are naturally good at. As we get older, this is a feeling that we don't get very often. But that's only because we don't really try. And that might be for valid reasons like we don't have time or we don't have the money for it. But more often than not, it's full of excuses, be it that it's a fear of getting hurt or not wanting to fail. And so if you do change your mindset and really think differently about what you think experimentation is, you'll be surprised at the impact that can have on what you can discover about yourself. Reason number 2 is unlocking your creativity. The reality is when you're doing something new, your brain doesn't really know what's going to come next. It's trying to see into the future and get things right so that it can be in a position of control when that time comes around. But because it doesn't really know what's going on and because it doesn't know what the actual next steps are, invariably it's going to get some of those things right and some of those things wrong. And in some of those wrong thoughts, there will be some glimmers of something in there. And it's only by actually putting yourself into a position where you don't know what's going to come next, that you give your brain the opportunity to come up with these wrong answers that you can then turn and twist and put your own personal stamp on to actually explore your own personal creativity. And creativity is important because that's how we bring our own skills and experience and passions to the table. And the more opportunities you have to bring those passions out, the more satisfied you're going to be day to day. The third reason you should be experimenting is to get better at making decisions. Look, I won't bullshit you. If you go into something with an experimentation mindset, chances are you're going to get more things wrong than you are right. As you go through and do all your experiments, you're going to have to very, very quickly learn what things work and what don't, and which things to keep and which other ones to throw away. And this, in and of itself, is a skill. And like any skill, the more opportunities you have to actually practice it, the better you're going to get. So if you want to get better at making decisions across your whole life, experimentation with your goals can help. Eventually, as you experiment, you're going to start running out of ideas. And that puts you at a scary point because now you're looking out into the unknown. But if you approach that unknown with an experimentation mindset, now what you've done is give yourself permission to get things wrong. Because that experimentation is about trying things to see what works and what doesn't, you know that having that information about what doesn't work is as valuable, if not more, than the things that do. And so that takes a little bit of that pressure off when you're standing on the precipice of wondering what your next step is going to be. And what this does is it starts expanding your comfort zone. You get significantly more comfortable in these situations where you're not sure what the next step is. And you go from shitting it, cowering in the corner going, oh, I don't know what to do, to being in this position of, yeah, I don't know what to do, but I'll figure it out. I might get it right and I might get it wrong. But no matter what happens, I'm going to come out the other side with more information and better able to achieve my goals. And the carryover that has into everyday life cannot be shied away from. Reason number 5 is to foster a mindset of continuous learning. One of the reasons that life goes by faster as we get older is because we stop seeing new things. This is just a scientific fact. When we're a kid, everything is new, and our brains need a little bit of time to actually catch back up with that. And so it gives this perception of time slowing down. But as we get older and we don't really try new things, our brain can go into autopilot. And you can see this every single day. You know those days when you get to work and you realize, I have no idea how I got here. You were driving your car and you were doing it safe, but your mind was just on autopilot. And so you weren't taking in all the information that was being thrown at you as you were driving to work. But by learning to experiment and trying new things, you actually start to expand that time that your brain needs to actually process new information, giving you the impression that you actually have a longer life. Like many things, what I've talked about today probably isn't new to you. You've probably heard it before, and sometimes that can make this information seem a little bit diluted. But unless you're going into situations deliberately with the mindset of experimenting to see what works and what doesn't, the reality is you're not getting the benefit of that knowledge. But going into situations deliberately looking to experiment, you're giving yourself every opportunity to take advantage of these benefits and actually improve your life, not just by achieving your goals, but also through the method you're using to achieve them. Anyway, what are your thoughts? Did anything today resonate with you, or have you done any experiments in the past that you found useful? Let me know down in the comments below, and as always, like, follow, subscribe, all that good stuff. With all that said and done, have a great week, folks, and I'll talk to you soon. Peace.